Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And folks, don't worry, C Money, or should I say C Mustard, will be here momentarily. He already has the show notes. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be here for about 75-ish minutes to kind of get into two really, really ginormous topics. And, leading the conversation, of course, is going to be, well, if you just wondered if Xbox was dead, dying, going away, closing up shop, not making hardware, packing it up for first party, becoming third party only, well, all you have to do is look at the numbers. No, normally, they say money walks and, well, BS, money talks and BS walks, right? Is that how it usually goes? Well, thanks to a new report from Circana, we know that 4 of the 5 top most paid for games in the month of May were Xbox Game Studios first party. And that's a pretty big deal. When you can hold 4 of the 5 top spots, see money, well, you're making money. And if anyone knows about making money, it's C Mustard. I'm sorry, C Money. What's up, brother? How are you?
The slander. As soon as I walk in, son of a, what's up, my brother?
Well, I actually have to blame a couple of people in the chat that said I would be ousted on my own podcast if I didn't say a mustard and olives rule. So there you go.
That's wild. This is the most disgusting things ever. All right, they are.
Oh,
I do have to tell you though,
man.
I'm feeling good. Everybody who knows me also should know that I don't like mushrooms. Right, mushrooms are not my thing. But my doodle, she loves mushrooms.
Okay, that's fair.
And I gotta say, she got a pizza. Right, we got pizza. One of the pies. We always try to do what she likes on it because I don't like that stuff, so we try to make it fair. And
Right.
I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go ahead and have a slice. You know what? I couldn't tell the difference. Right? I really didn't know I was even eating mushrooms, so I was like, all right. So
now, is it mushrooms alone, or is it like a deluxe pizza where it has a little bit of everything?
It was a steak and
that's wow. That sounds very good. Holy cow! I never had that before. Excellent.
It was actually really good.
I'm getting hungry. Goddamn it.
Yeah, it was actually really, really good. But no, I mean, I couldn't imagine just grabbing a mushroom and eating it
and just like chewing on it. I can't do that either. Like there's
blended in where it's in the cheese and like you can't really see it.
It's mixed in there, so you're not really mentally thinking, oh, I'm chewing on a mushroom, or it's
exactly.
That's fair. That's fair. I actually used to be like that with black olives. Like I would never eat black olives unless it was on pizza on like a deluxe, right?
Oh my god, and that's the problem. See, go ahead.
And now I even get the black olives in my salad. Like when I make
Jesus Christ.
I throw it in there with all of the extra trimmings, and
olives are disgusting. But the thing is that when you buy, because I have tried that, to be fair, because she also loves olives, and I have tried to do that with one of her pizzas when she's gotten olives on it, and the taste of olive is super strong. Like I can,
it's suppressive.
Yeah, I could definitely taste it. So. Also, I got to tell you, I always watch your gameplay, right, from Black Ops. And for the longest of time, almost the entirety of my gameplay of Black Ops in multiplayer has always been me going in and turning off every possible thing except Team Deathmatch. Okay, that's the only one that I ever played. And I would always watch your games and just be like, what maps are these? I never see any of these maps because Team Deathmatch doesn't give you all of these maps to be in. Some of them are only certain modes. So recently, I would say within the last week or so, I was inspired. And I was like, you know what? I keep seeing these dope ass maps on Boom Show. I'm sick of it. I need to see what's going on. So I just left it with all this shit.
You just keep playing like Nuketown is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's like Nuketown and like 3 other maps that they just rotate. And so now the last week or so I've been playing because ever since that Beavis and Butthead update, I got the little extra pass and I want to I want to beat it.
I know a lot of people are really angry at that because it's cartoons.
That's so stupid. Like, get out of here. You're not in the military, dog. You're performing. You're pretending. So you could play pretend. Let everybody else play pretend. Like, come get out of here. It's so stupid. But there's dope. I love that they actually have a military
Beavis. Yes, he's like with the night goggles and everything.
Yeah, he has the camel. Cool. So I'm running around military theme, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. Him beating some ass. But no, I'm finding like a new love for the game because modes that I thought I didn't really care for, I started enjoying. And all these other maps are crazy good. So it's like I found new maps that I never knew. It's like I got an expansion pack or something. It's been great. So I just wanted to shout you out because I always see.
I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, you know what? Again, I team deathmatch is great, right? That obviously it's your team versus their team. I tell you something, for Black Ops 7, supposedly one of the rumors that broke that we talked about. I don't even know if we made mention of it. It's going to be 20 on 20, which is crazy. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's going to be
20 on 20 mode is what's rumored for Black Ops 7. Oh my God. That's going to be it. They're going to have battlefield size maps. For that, because
I mean, it has to be a separate mode. That can't be like a team deathmatch.
I don't know. I know they said 20v20. I don't know what that actually means, what mode it is, but
I mean, I guess if they have a big enough map, 20v20.
Like 20v20 on the sub right here would be just like it'd be like shooting fish in a barrel.
It's just people will just stand on one side and just shoot the other side nonstop. It'll be.
Shout out to our Music 72 Cornholio. I love it. Dark Tribe says yes for 20 on 20. Yeah, I agree. Give me the big teams, because 6v6 is great. 10v10 is great, but you do 20v20. My God, that's gonna be a match that's gonna be 30 minutes. There's no doubt about it. Especially if you got to get to 100. But
yeah.
See, money. The conversation around Xbox has been like a roller coaster since last Wednesday, and a lot of the smoke that came the way of Microsoft, and more specifically Xbox, was well deserved, right? Now, again, you and I had a conversation last Thursday where some of the cuts we don't agree with, but we understand from the business side of it, where you take a studio like Rare, and Rare is one of those studios that not only are they stubborn, like they're very stuck in their way, where they don't want to do any of their classic stuff. And the Spill's already said it publicly that he doesn't force studios to work on games. But with that said, they tried something new, right? And I don't know who's to blame. Is it management like Matt Booty, where he wasn't watching what the team was doing? Was it management at Rare, where they made this game, right? Everwild. They showed it off. They admittedly said they did not know what it was, which is a little weird to me, right? Like, if you're making a game, you're supposed to have a direction, right? So the game gets canceled, and I got to be honest with you, even though you don't want to see people lose their job, that kind of a cancellation makes sense. The one that
it definitely made sense. The only thing that is a problem is that I don't think that it's about they didn't know what the game was when they were starting it. Right, like the guy who was working on the I don't know what you call him, the lead guy,
the head of the studio, basically.
The head of whoever was running that game. We remember it was him and Louise, right? Both of them were talking, but the guy was the one in charge, and she was like, the next person down, right? So he had a vision of what he wanted. The problem is that that game didn't fit in our world, like in our Xbox, right? Like in the first party lineup, he wanted to make like basically a cozy game, right? One with nature, whimsical, no violence, just pet some animals, maybe rescue one up in a tree. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was gonna be some really like indie shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool for like an indie game, right? But like, to put a massive budget behind that and to try to start a new IP off of this do nothing game is just wander around the world. Like I don't think that that's a I don't think that that was going to be a thing. So it's not that when they showed us the game that they didn't know what the game was. The guy knew what he was trying to make. It's just backing that game long term was the problem, right? Because I'm sure
the amount of
as
money
people
being
started,
spent to make that game just didn't equate. Like, especially
exactly.
the game that's going to come out as single player, and you do your thing, and there's no money on the back end, then that's ultimately a problem. But you know,
And then you're shoehorning in, you're trying to shoehorn in
good
some
point,
new
man.
ideas on top of a game that was built with a completely different premise, and you know it's going to be janky, right? Like it's not going to be the exact, you know, right kind of mix, because if you don't have a strong, like it wasn't like a strong, oh my god, we know what this game's going to be after that guy left. It's just like the lady Louise, whatever she her name is, I forget her last name, but she took it over as, I guess, the director, you would call him, or whatever. But
Game director.
it's clearly they couldn't kind of make it work, right? Because again, you know, you have all this whimsical stuff in there, and then what are you doing now? I think the problem is that the game that it needed to be was going to be crazy in the budget. Like it was going to be, because it needed to basically be like their Breath of the Wild. That's the only kind of way that game was going to play out, where if you know, was in that sword and bow and arrow type gameplay, and then it's like, well, we can't just show up with like a basic version, right? Because people are going to compare this game to those games, and if we're not doing something big or great, like what's going to happen, right? So I can really see how it didn't make sense to
it seemed to have just falling apart, and that happens from time to time. You know, game development is hard, folks. It's some things work and some things just don't. But
and it's not that it was it could have been, like, honestly, like as much as we talk about like, oh well, if it was a crap game, then of course it's going to get canceled. It could have been in a good state, like as far as where they were working towards, but then you have to sit down with the studio head and have a real question. And it's like, well, okay, cool. Listen, I like the direction that this is going, but clearly it's not going to be done anytime soon. How long are you expecting to take on this? And how much more money are we going to need to get it there? And then after that discussion where they're like, well, we still need another year or 2 years, and we're going to need X amount of dollars, and we're going to need to, you know, hire more people or contract other people because we don't know this type of gameplay. So we need to bring, you know, like those discussions are going to happen. And then leadership is going to go sit down and be like, listen, we can do this, but it's going to cost us this much and it's going to take this long. And and obviously they do projections for everything, right? What do they think a game like this is going to do for them? New IP, you know, not a type of game that's currently on Xbox. So it's kind of hard to gauge, you know, as a first party, what they would actually make on it, right? So they do their rough numbers based off what they see on third parties that are similar to this type of game, and, you know, doing all that. It's once you do the numbers, you have to make the decision. Are we going to invest long term? Because again, you know, we talked about it, or we've talked about it all the time here. Ever since, you know, Redfall, the bar has been raised, right? Phil doesn't just say, F it, the game is the game, bring it out, whatever happens. So it's like, how long are we going to need to get it to that point where we're comfortable, and we know that it's going to at least do well as far as our fans, that the fans are going to love it, right? That's a hard kind of balance, right? To be able to say, well, they're going to need X amount of time. We don't want to shortchange it. So are we going to do that or we're not? And at a certain point, if they know they're not going to be in it for the long haul, because even at that point, even her estimate is an estimate, right? That a year or two can come up and it's like, oh, we're not quite there. Well, Phil, technically we can ship it, or you can give us another 6 months and we could turn it from a 70 to an 80. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the discussions that take place. And I'm sure Perfect Dark was in the same boat, right? I'm sure the game might have been going, right? The same thing with that Romero Games, right? He came out and they said it's not on us. We've been doing pretty good, but it's like, okay, yeah, but how much time, how much more money, what is it going to do, what's it worth to us? These are the conversations that have to happen, especially when you have Microsoft saying, hey, listen, we're structuring things differently, we want to go flat, we want to kind of cut costs in these areas, go make some cuts, that you think need to happen. And this is the type of stuff that happens, man. I mean, it kind of is what it is.
No, I mean it's true, but you know what? I want to use a comment here to start our next topic, and that comes the way of Black Sausage. So shout out to Black Sausage for putting this in the chat.
Sausage.
Welcome, brother. He goes on to say,
Welcome.
It's amazing how dead Xbox is, yet it's talked about more than any other platform. And
Thanks.
you know what, folks? That's a great jumping off point for where C Money and I are going to go with this. I opened up today's show talking about sales. Now, for me, sales don't really matter because no one's filling my pockets, right? No one's giving money to, right? No one, that's not my problem. It's not C Money's problem, and it shouldn't be your problem either. What you should be concerned with is, as a consumer, is studio whatever delivering games that you like? Is publisher whoever delivering the promise on having its very lofty amount of studios deliver games to a particular service, i.e. Xbox Game Pass, right? And one of the things that one of the conversations that we're about to have is we have it on new information, C Money, that for the month of May, the sales numbers have come out. And the sales numbers have come out, and of the top 5 games that are the most purchased games, and I have it literally, I'm going to blow it up here on the screen for me. These are the best top 20 selling games, physical and full game digital releases for Nintendo eShop, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC platforms for publishers in the digital leader panel, ranked on dollar sales. Now, number 1 was Elden Ring Night Rain. And in itself, that is very surprising, not because the game isn't great, because that game is hard as hell. And it is, of course, it's not, it is a DLC for Elden Ring, which is an incredible game on its own.
No, that's not DLC. It's a standalone.
Is it really? I thought it was
DLC already came out a while ago. That's the one that I got.
Okay, so I got it confused with that. So Night Rain is its own thing. That's the multiplayer one. Yeah. You're right. So Night Rain is its own game. It's its own multiplayer. I didn't buy it, which is, obviously I got through Elden Ring 1. I beat every boss in the game except for that last one, which is a real MF, and I haven't been back. So Night Rain, again, this series is so big that they're making a film on it. So that goes to show you that this.
I mean, it's sold so much that even if only like half of the people who loved the first one said, "Oh, let me jump in," it still was going to be number 1, right? Like it just in any given month, there's just so many people who are gonna.
You know what? I think that whatever Elden Ring does next, whether they just make a straight up sequel or a smaller game like Night Rain,
they got the other one on the Switch. Remember the Switch 2?
That's
Blood something, whatever.
Yeah, that's an exclusive, which is
So
they're shocking. It looks very Bloodborne-esque, to be honest with you, which I think a lot of people have already compared it to that. But interestingly enough, the next 4 slots for dollars and most sold, mind you, this is the top 20 list, folks, are all Microsoft Corporation-owned games. Doom: The Dark Ages at number 2. Forza Horizon 5, a game that is 4+ years old.
That's just
at
wild.
The number 3 spot. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster, which just continues to dominate the conversation. And, what do you know about that? Call of Duty Black Ops 6, the one that everyone hates because it has cartoon characters in it.
And remember, this is last year's game.
This is last year's game. Yeah.
Still crushing this year. Also, it's funny because I recall a whole big joke about Doom, the Dark Ages, and it didn't sell, and nobody wanted to buy that game. Remember when they were looking at Steam charts? And, wow, there's not that many people playing it. Interesting. It seems like PlayStation people having fun times buying that game, right? It's a good time.
Could you
It's a good
imagine?
time
You know what's interesting?
to talk about.
You know what's interesting, see money. Now you just said
Yeah, yeah.
PlayStation people, gamers, the
Yeah, yeah.
PlayStation gamers, because
Oh yeah.
there are a lot of them, and they are the casual audience, and they just enjoy playing games. And now they're getting to experience Xbox first party games, and that's freaking awesome. Like I said, there is a stark difference, ladies and gentlemen, between, and there's been a lot of PlayStation players to come into this chat that enjoy hanging out with us, even on Xbox shows, because it's not about who sold more consoles. It's what are they playing and enjoying, right? And that is the stark difference. We're not talking about the trolls or the console warriors or the people that just cry about numbers. We're talking about actually just gamers. And is just awesome to see. But you know what's interesting? So far, Forza Horizon 5, I would imagine that after landing on PlayStation 5, and I don't have the officials numbers in front of me, so folks, if you got it, throw it into the chat. I'll shout you out. I would imagine it's got to be over 45 million players.
Yeah, it was the last time somebody posted something, and it's crazy because you just got to turn on the game and you can check on the leaderboard.
Yeah,
but I think the last time it was like 46.5.
Wow,
like, I think it was
dude. Okay,
46,500,000,
nearly
but this was like
47 million players.
The other thing to keep in mind is that I know you have that list, but if you look at the other list, which is the year-to-date totals, so like the biggest games for the whole year, Forza Horizon 5, a game that came out almost 4 years ago.
Yep.
Right. It's like number 12 for the year.
Wow, dude.
For the year.
That's crazy. For 2025.
For 2025.
Incredible.
For not 12 months, from January to now, it's like number 12 to 15, somewhere around that. I don't remember the exact number, but for the year. So it's in the top 20, almost the top 10 games bought and paid for the year. And this is the thing, as crazy as it sounds, right, for Xbox, we talk about all the time how Game Pass, right, does such a great service for games and game devs, because if your game is in Game Pass and people are excited about it and people love it and people say, okay, cool, that's dope, I don't have Game Pass, but I'm gonna go buy it right on my Xbox. Or if it's on Xbox Game Pass and somebody who sees it like, oh, that's dope, and now that it's on PlayStation, like, oh, I'm gonna go buy it on PlayStation, right? But the same is also going to work the opposite direction, right? And that's also where it's a big deal, because you got to remember, this game is 4 years old, which means anybody who got into the ecosystem within, let's say, the last 3 years on Xbox, they might not necessarily be looking for Forza Horizon 5 because they maybe just didn't think about it. They've been playing other games. They just got into the ecosystem. But then you hear it's coming to PlayStation. You see the trailers. You look at like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And it's going to have the same effect going the other way, where people who are seeing it coming now on PlayStation, people are like, oh, snap, look at how well it's doing. People are excited about it. It looks so good. Let me go try it out on my console. And that's either going to equal people saying, let me go sub to Game Pass and try it out, or let me go buy it because it's pretty cheap on Xbox. And it's like, it's going to work both ways, right? This is the genius behind it, right?
Man, it's a Trojan horse is what it is.
It's a huge boost, man, to these games and these devs. It's so funny because I had on Twitter, I wrote something, and these dudes come out of nowhere all pumped and shit. And like, it was just so funny to see one of them came out and told me that, yeah, us PlayStation people are buying the game,
I saw
and you guys are not buying it,
yeah.
and we're supporting Game Pass. And it's like, what do you think we're constantly telling you we're telling you, yes, keep buying the game because you're supporting our Game Pass. Thank you for your service, right? Like nobody's arguing with you. I don't give a crap what the reason is. Keep buying them, right? As long as I don't have to pay, I'm a happy camper, right?
Well, I mean, you are paying
so
though. That's the thing. Like people think like you're getting it for free. Like it's
our
service.
For a service. Yeah. We pay. It's like going to Disneyland, right? You pay to get in, but every time I walk up to a ride, I'm not like, well, I guess I got to pay for it. Well, I got to pay for it. No,
you've already paid for it, dude.
I paid. I got in. I'm in Disneyland. That's what Game Pass is.
It's good.
Game Pass is our Disneyland. All right. I'm sorry that you guys are still going to the carnival and have to buy each ticket for each ride at the carnival. Okay. That's a you problem, not an us problem. Okay. We go to Disneyland for vacation. You go to the Rinky Carnival down the street. But thankfully, you got a good donor, Xbox, putting in actual good rides at the carnival. Y'all were on the teacups for years. Now you actually got some good stuff. So it's a fun time. We're
you know what's funny? We know for a fact that it came out on Xbox, came out on PC. It has recently been released on PlayStation 5. I don't know, and this is, folks, it ran on the OG Xbox. So I would imagine it's got PC specs are a perfect example. Low end PC specs are going to run Forza Horizon 5. It's going to run as great as a 4090. It's not, but you can get it to play. I'm wondering if they can get that to work on Switch 2. Like if the Switch 2, yeah.
I promise you they can, because the game released on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So they absolutely can do it. You gotta remember, like the Switch 2 just kind of came out. You don't know how they were handling.
I'm sure we had rumors, a big time racer.
Yeah, like competitors. Remember, we had heard rumors that there was like a staggered
release schedule. Yes,
release schedule for like games where they don't want too much like competition in the front end or something like that. I forget the exact thing, but we heard a rumor that there was some type of delay between releases that they were looking for. So who knows? But I'm sure there's really literally zero reason to not put this game on the Switch 2. I mean,
it makes sense. And I think ultimately, this is one of those conversations where, again, it's an open-ended conversation that C and I are having right now. And of course, at the crux of it is Xbox is not dead. And what's interesting is no matter what Xbox does, no matter how many gains they continue to go and do and, surpass numbers, like I said, folks, the money aspect is not something that I personally talk about because I don't actually care. I don't care how much money Microsoft makes. They're a $3.7 trillion company, folks. Do I give a shit? I do not. What I care about...
I think we care in like the sense that if we hear, like if Microsoft comes out and they're like, yo, we are just bleeding money, we're not making any money, then we would care and be like, holy crap. But the problem is that this is all a fake narrative that's constructed to suit like the pony media and these dudes to feel better about it, when literally Xbox keeps coming out and telling us that they're making record profits, right? Phil just said it during the layoff that he sees how crazy it is that this is happening right now when we're reporting that we've had the most players making the most money. So like, it's just that we don't need the nitty gritty details. I don't care at what point this is happening. We know they're making money. As long as they're making money some way, somehow, and they can keep investing in Game Pass, that's the limit to what we care. I don't care if Hellblade didn't sell 20 million copies. You know what I'm saying? That makes no difference to my life. I got to experience a masterpiece, and they're going to get that too in a little bit, August 12th or something like that. So it's like, at the end of the day, the only reason we talk about, or at least I know for sure, the only reason I talk about it, especially on our show, is just to mock those who sat there and threw numbers in our faces forever, and then only to find out that their games don't sell much of anything anymore. And it's like, what are we doing here? You guys spent all that time talking crap. Where's your tears on why are you not saying, I can't believe this game hasn't sold so much yet, right? Why are you not coming in and crying about that part, right? Nah, so that's the only reason. We only talk about it because it's so, important to the other side, right? That's all.
Well, you know what? I want to segue, but also, keep on topic. And I mentioned Matt Piscatella the other day. I want to re-mention Matt. Matt is guy is not only an incredible community member, he's honest, he's earnest, and he works with Circana. Right? Circana is a numbers-based corporation that gets all the numbers that we talk about on our podcast. We talked about specifically the top 4 out of the top 5 games most paid for are Xbox first party games. We know Microsoft is making money. But one of the other conversations that was raging over the weekend, and I do want to continue this conversation because it does involve Xbox. It does involve their service, Xbox Game Pass. I saw you getting hot and heavy on the socials, along with me, giving our opinions. But our opinions aren't skewed in a way where we're trying to defend the $3.7 trillion company. We're just trying, as content creators, to make sense and point out the lies that are put out there. And there were a lot of lies. And unfortunately, Christopher Dring was at the center of that lie. And I think ultimately Chris is a hack of a journalist, ladies and gentlemen. I know that I'm known for not naming the names. But that I'm talking about content creators. Other content creators can say whatever they want. Okay, I'm concerned about what I'm saying, and because I mentioned Chris's name, it's not because I'm looking for smoke. He's at the center of this, and like many times before, he sets this fire, runs away like a coward, and then comes back 24 hours later to debunk his own reporting. And I think for me, the most disappointing aspect of it, and I don't, again, this is to be clear, I don't care what the civilians of the community say. I could care less. I think what's disappointing for me is seeing multiple journalists, which those names I won't name, right? Because you don't need me to tell you them. Go look for yourself. There were multiple outlets that ran 2, 3, 4, 5 stories about how Xbox Game Pass was once again not making money, not profitable, a hindrance to the industry, hurtful for devs. And again, this all started with, and again, the guy knows his business. He helped create Arcane, and he left the studio in 2017, did an interview, and like many devs, and there's been quite a few devs that have said this, not every dev loves and appreciates Xbox Game Pass, where they feel that it's a hindrance and it's cornering the market, and devs don't have any place to go. Well, interestingly enough, C-Money, we had a report, and of course I want to give credit where credit is due. Hazardor Gaming, one of the best in the X community. The guy is top notch when it comes to his reporting, and he put out a post where I think it clarifies what is actually happening with the industry. And I don't think Xbox dying and Xbox Game Pass, quote unquote, being bad is the reason why this industry has seen more a movement, I should say, to free-to-play games. That is your culprit, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't really think that you need to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. But Matt Piscatella, from his Blue Sky account, said this, and this is incredibly relevant to the conversation we're about to have. C-Money, the top 10 live service games are sucking nearly half of all gaming hours from both PlayStation and Xbox Series X ecosystems before any other game can even get a taste, is a far bigger threat than the submodel, in my opinion. But what do I know? And I mean, just let's have that conversation, because Xbox Game Pass money, terrible for the business, apparently, right? Great for consumers, but supposedly not good for devs. How many incredible dev stories have you read, both big and small? The stories are incredible, right?
Yep.
You've had studios of two people put a game on Game Pass. It gets advertised in it because everyone always talks about the latest releases on Game Pass. Xbox themselves puts out an Xbox Wire article with the games front and center. They list the games, right? That's something you're not getting in PlayStation, right? You're not getting PlayStation blogs. I think what did they say it was? It was 15 grand to get your game onto the PlayStation Network store. 15 grand for a
Not for the store, for the to be seen or some
to
crap
be
like that.
seen,
Wasn't
but
it?
no, not on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
store
to be
itself, but
seen.
to
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
be
on the page. Yeah.
advertised is $15,000. Who has that kind of money? Not an
Not a
indie
small
dev,
dev. Not a
right?
small dev.
So maybe a AAA dev, but you take that information, right, and you say, well, Xbox Game Pass was accused of damaging the market when I think it's very common knowledge to know that free-to-play games have taken over and sucked the air out of the room. And there was a report last week, I think we might have even mentioned it, that 30+%, well, young gamers are spending 30+% on games. Why do you think that is? You don't think a place like Game Rank or one of the companies that IGN owns would know that information? I think it's fair to say that that's common knowledge. But of course, anti-Xbox material gets what? Gets clicks. And that's what ultimately wound up happening here. I want to get
I
your thoughts on that because, again, it's false reporting. It's false reporting in a way where the people that are reporting it knew it was false, ran with it anyway. Chris himself knew it was false because, again, Chris tried to get real slick with it, where he was like, "Well, if you remove the decimal from the 3 here and you put it behind the 6 over here, and then you circumvent it around the corner and make a left, it's not making money." Who does that? Like, honestly, I just find it so disingenuous. And the fact that he's done this before, see money, he's done this numerous times. The same organizations, the same publications, the same journalists write the same articles, knowing this guy is a fraud. And it is bonkers to me that they continue to report on this.
Dude, my dude, he went ahead and did like 18 months, of like research and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Only to have it all discredited in a day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are you doing, bro? Like, how does this your job? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's a place that you spent all that time on the wrong data? You know what I'm saying? Or making wrong assumptions about the data. That's just crazy. But no, listen, I know free to play has been something that people have been talking about, and this is the reality of what it is. And like, as much as people want to talk about it in that way, like, how did free to play games affect Elden Ring when it dropped, right? How did free to play games affect Helldivers 2 when it dropped on PC, right? Like, how did free to play games affect Power World when it dropped, right, on PC and things like that? Like, I think the idea here is that if people are not buying games, then that means that it's the fault of free to play, or is the fault of Game Pass, or it's somebody's fault. And the reality is that we've been shown time and time again that people will show up for an amazing experience. What the complaining that's happening is people want to make games that are subpar, or games that are just kind of okay, and expect a whole bunch of people to show up. And it's like, no, like, the game has to be worth it. It has to hit the right type of notes that people are going to be excited about to want to play and want to spend their money and buy it. People have bought a bunch of games. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still happening. Now free to play, sure, it's a big deal, but I would argue that people who are only playing free to play games, would also not be spending a crap ton of money on games to begin with if there were no free to play games. You know what I'm saying? Like if they, you got to imagine a lot of the free to play game players, I would imagine are going to be younger people, right? Like all these kids. That's why you always hear them if you go into the lobbies of, you know, Call of Duty, Warzone, or Fortnite and all this stuff. If people are talking, you could hear that a lot of these people are kids, and it makes sense, right? Because, you know, kids don't have money, right? So, you know, they have a game console, they have a PC. Mommy and daddy don't want to buy them another game, so they sit there and they play a bunch of different stuff, right? And you don't know what type of, you know, like what's going to happen to that person when they get older. Maybe free to play allow them to play games when they were younger, and then they get money, and then they grow up to buy games, right? You don't know what this is doing, right? I don't know how much research has been done with that, but you know, you don't know 100% the outcome. I think the problem is less worrying about how people can enjoy their games, whether they want to spend all their time in a free to play game and never spend $1, if they want to spend all their time in a free to play game and spend hundreds of dollars a month on skins and packs instead of buying other games. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all supporting the ecosystem, no matter how you cut it. If you're going ahead and having people who are buying microtransactions and free to play games, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, right? Steam, like everybody is winning, right? Epic is winning. Like it's still moving the dollars forward, right? Like I just feel like it's like a cap out, right? People are looking for excuses as to why their games don't sell. That dude made, I don't care if he made Arcane. That doesn't mean anything. What means something is he made Weird West. And you know what? Who the F cares about Weird West, right? That was not some banger. It wasn't a game changer. It didn't revolutionize gaming. It didn't make a difference for anyone. So he's butthurt that his game didn't make money or a lot of money. And if I'm not mistaken, he took a bag. If I'm not mistaken.
I was going to say, wasn't Weird West in Game Pass?
I know Evil West eventually went to Game Pass. I don't know if Weird West went to Game Pass, but I could tell you what, even if it was, I didn't play it. I didn't think about it, because just because it's in Game Pass doesn't mean that I'm forced to download your game or hype up your game. Like if your game's not interesting to me, being in Game Pass or not in Game Pass doesn't make a difference, right? The only chance you have is that if it does interest me enough, I might download it or stream it through the cloud and then see what it is if I'm interested in spending my time. Because no matter how you cut it, the most important currency that we have that unfortunately, unlike money, you can't make back is your time. So as much as it's a cool idea to be like, oh, you should play all these games, like, no, fam, like I don't have time for that, right? I have to play what I want and make the most of my time. So if you don't make a banger that gets me excited, then sorry, I'm not going to just play your game. So it always comes from people who are like, for lack of a better word, butthurt about the situation.
You know, right? What? I have that. I answered my own question. I went and checked. It says, according to the information I got in front of me, yes, the game Weird West was available on Xbox Game Pass upon its launch, which was March 31st, 2022. According to multiple gaming news sites, it launched on both PC and console versions, and it was, in fact, on Game Pass. I pulled the Xbox Wire article. I have that in front of me. So, so he did get a bag.
Yeah, so he took the bag, right? And he thought, okay, I'm going to take this bag. It's going to cover this much. That's awesome. And then I'm going to sell so much everywhere else, because it's not just locked to Game Pass, guys. The game was available for sale on Game Pass. The game was available on sale on PlayStation and PC. People had the options to buy this game. Listen, I don't know the sales for this game, but based off of the way he's talking, again, he's talking like a scorn lover. You know what I'm saying? Like he's so hurt that he didn't make a crap ton of money on his game. And that's the only way you can explain the situation. Taking a free bag from Microsoft and Xbox to put your game in Game Pass, right? I thought there was 77 million people on PlayStation. That's the big number, right? I thought there was hundreds of million people on Steam and Epic Game Store and on PC where they could buy this thing. Like Xbox is supposed to be the small base, right? The one that doesn't matter too much because it's so small in comparison.
Well, it's half of what PlayStation has out there. Again, it's more. PlayStation 5 has more consoles in total. It's like, I think it was the last number was 77 million.
77, right? So it's like, okay, then why do you? So if it's on Game Pass, right, and it's available for sale, it's the smaller base. Why does people having access to Game Pass versus buying it? Why does that hinder you for your long-term view of your game? That's the only reason that this could be, because the bag was free. Like you got the bag. People say all the time that Xbox is not going to be that many sold console sales, right? You're not going to, or the
Game Pass shouldn't matter
if
it's a smaller base. Yeah. Is basically what you're saying.
If it's going to be so little sales anyway, how does Game Pass hurt you on Xbox? If anything, all it did was allow your game to get word of mouth. But this is the thing. Word of mouth is a double-edged sword, because it could either be, wow, this is amazing, you guys got to go play it. Yo, check this out. It's so dope. Or it could be, it was all right. I didn't really care for it. No, that was bad. No, that shit was trash, right? The word of mouth can be anything, right? So if you're not getting unanimous praise and people are amped about your game, or if it's interesting enough to go ahead and stand out, then nothing's going to come from that. And I could tell you, those isometric, slightly over the view, whatever it is, the top down games, bro, like if it's not Diablo, if it's not, Path of Exile, if it's not like some of those type of things, or even Wasteland 3, which I don't know how much it sold, but it was a phenomenal game, right? Like there's only so much hypeness you're gonna have over that isometric view, bro. Like your graphics are not amazing. What's your selling point? What, to shoot people on the isometric view? How many times have we done that? Well, a power that's different, so I can travel faster. I don't know. What are you gonna do that's gonna be this certified banger when the world already has the bangers that exist in that way, right? Now, like, let's be real. Diablo, fun game, right? But you strip out the name Diablo and you put Lucifer, okay? guarantee you that game doesn't do anywhere near the numbers that it does. Not because it's a bad game. It was a very good game, and I had a great time with it, and I really, really enjoyed it. But it just would not have done anywhere near the numbers that it's done, because it's the name brand recognition, man. It's what people know. Weird West. What? You're reading a list again. Put yourself back in the day, okay? You're looking at through a bunch of box art, okay? And you see a name of a game called Weird West. What is that? Well, you think that's some huge, like, you know what I'm saying? Like this huge name for me that I'm like, oh man, Weird West, that sounds so cool. Like, I feel like these dudes come out here and they embarrass themselves because they just show how salty they are, especially in a world where games that are not in Game Pass, the games that are in Game Pass still go on to sell tremendously well, a la a Power World, right? Who did crazy numbers, right? In Game Pass and outside of Game Pass. You have a world where games do sell 12 million, 15 million, 20 million copies, right? Like a Black Myth Wukong or whatever, right? That even though it's all in Asia or whatever, they still sold, right? So it's like these things happen, right? So for you to come out here and say, well, free to play games are the reason why no games sell. No, it's taking the people who want to do this as a hobby, or people who think, if I make a game, it's going to sell. Like he thought he had a name. Okay. He thought his name was going to carry him. He's not Kojima, right? He's not, like, nobody knows his name unless you know Arcane. And even if you know Arcane, you might not know his name unless you go do some research, right? So like nobody cared that he left to make a studio nobody was saying, "Oh my God, this dude is gonna make something amazing." Maybe they were thinking there's a possibility if he was gonna make a Dishonored type game, but then he shows up with his isometric weird ass game. Come on, man. No, bro. No. Gaming is making crazy money right now. The money's there. People are willing to buy. The entire idea is stupid because the only place that has Game Pass is Xbox and Windows PC, not Steam, right? So the Xbox PC and Xbox. PlayStation games, I mean, obviously their first party games don't sell too well, but games still sell over there, right? Nintendo, they have no service. Games are sold over there. The fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, great games have a chance to sell. Great games have a chance. You still need all the other pieces to fall into play, recognition, excitement, all that stuff. Outside of that, come on, man. This is a stupid ass argument. Free-to-play games have been here for fucking how long already, dude? How long?
Yeah, I mean,
we're
listen,
we're still looking for excuses. Game has been out since 2017. We're still looking for excuses. Like, your game has to be amazing, bro. Many games have sold amazingly well. If you're trying to do a cash grab, if you're trying to think, oh, this is going to do okay. No, don't. They're more savvy. Gamers are more savvy now. There's more options, more than ever. Not just free to play. More options of games to buy. Games get released. Like, thousands of games are released a day.
Well, I did. It's funny you say that because the other day, I happened to just do a quick check on it, and we got the number of 200 to 400 games per month or per week, something like that. It's ridiculous. I mean, look what happened last year on Steam alone. Steam had a total of 19,000 games released on that service last year.
Come on, man.
So when someone puts out a game, unless it's really sucking the air of the zeitgeist, you're all these developers are fighting each other and jockeying for a position to try and sell their wares, and that is ultimately that's the problem. And I think you made mention of, and I kind of want to expand on it a little bit. And you folks, I know people in the chat make fun of me when I start talking about real life stuff, right? But the one thing that I don't want to say I get annoyed, see money. I think people take for granted how difficult it is in 2025 to run a household. And I don't know how many people in the chat actually do that. Like, okay, my household is relatively small because it's just me and Mrs. Boom, right? So I'm responsible to make sure that the rent's paid and everything else that goes with being an adult gets done, right? For others who have a much bigger family, i.e., see money, there you go. So, for everyone, it's a bit different. Not everyone is going to follow the same amount of how much money you got to spend, whether it be a mortgage versus a rent, car payment versus own. There's a whole lot of variables. The one thing I think I can say with confidence, though, is that as amazing as gaming is, listen, it's expensive, man. It's an expensive freaking hobby. And just like your rent and your groceries and your light bill and your water bill and everything else that goes with adulting, everything has gone up except what? Your paycheck. Wherever you're working is probably still the same while everything else is going up, regardless of whether or not you're a Democrat, Republican, or somewhere in the middle. Doesn't matter. So people, as we know, are buying less video games. People are flocking to games that they like, and they're sticking with them. Free to play is definitely a big one. One of the biggest new ones to come out that has just blown up on the scene, Marvel Rivals is the perfect example of that. That game is quality AF, lots of incredible characters, lots of DLC if you want to buy, if you want to change, your outfits on Storm or Wolverine or Punisher, you can go ahead and spend all the money you want. Or you can simply just have the same old ass skin that you've had, that you've been playing the game for 6 months, and no one's going to care, right? But again, it just goes back, and I know it's been a bit of a long circle that we're on here, but the whole thing that, that Xbox Game Pass, more specifically, based on, it wasn't just a couple of articles, see money. It was a lot of conversation in this community and in the journalistic community that, of course, again, it goes right back to well, if I want to get clicks for my website, all I have to do is shit on Xbox and that will bring them in. And I'm kind of wondering when that actually ends. Like, I stopped clicking on these things a long time ago because I'm not falling for the virtual banana in the tailpipe. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to support other people's horse shit or rhetoric. But it's just odd to me that when 2025 officially ends in December, right? Whatever the year is going to look like, if we make it there, because you just never know, right? We it's a long time to December, but at the end of this year, Sony, PlayStation, if we're comparing apples to oranges and oranges to pears, because pears of course is going to be Nintendo. Nintendo had Mario Kart. We don't know the sales numbers. I would imagine it sold like crazy because it's Mario Kart.
It sold as many as the console for the most part, right? Because
right.
It's bundled.
So, and we're hearing, right, just based on some reports, early reports, that Donkey Kong Bonanza, which comes out in about a week, right? So I think the 17th or the 19th. No, I can't wait.
It's the 8th. It's the day before my birthday.
Oh, so there you go. I'm very excited for that game. That game is getting Game of the Year conversation. I've talked to a couple of people. I actually talked to somebody that played it. The buzz is there, but they don't have a lot of first party. And that's good for Nintendo. They don't really care. They're going to have these games. They're going to come out. They're going to sell a boatload, and it's great. PlayStation is going to have, of course, Ghost of Yotai. They have their State of Play tonight. I believe it's at 5 or 6 tonight, Eastern Standard Time. That game is going to sell. It's going to be great. Some people, and they're not wrong for it. Death Stranding is an exclusive for PlayStation 5. That's considered first party. You got MLB The Show. It's a multi-plat. You might have one or two other ones that were published by PlayStation, but they're going to be super light this year. At the end of this year, C-Money, for the corporation or more so the platform, Xbox being dead, dying, leaving the business, they're going to have put out 12 first-party games in a year. Now, maybe they didn't come out every month, in succession, but if you just take a step back, that equates to one game per month. Now, granted, to be completely fair and earnest here, not every one of those games is going to be a game that you in the chat are going to play. You might play 4 of the 12. You might play 6 or 8 of the 12. Hell, you might play all 12 games because you just love gaming and every genre is interesting to you. And if that's the case, then you have officially won. But it's just very strange to me that the Xbox is dead situation, and there were some people in here. Again, we're not going to embarrass anybody. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I mean, before we even went live, there was something like, just FYI, Boomstick, Xbox is dead. Their hardware is dead. The name doesn't mean it. Listen, folks, if that's how you feel, good for you. You're allowed to come into this chat and tell me that Xbox sucks. I don't know how long you're going to last, because, people aren't going to stand for the shenanigans, and certainly Lethal Papa, who walks silently and carries a really big band troll stick, is not going to let you live that long. But you come in here and you can start your false narratives. Again, I don't know how long you're going to last, but I mean, come on, are we kidding? C-Money, like when does the actual conversation? Let's talk about games. Forget about corporations, forget about trillions and billions and consoles sold. When do we talk about who's putting out the best games? Who's putting out the most games? C-Money.
So, I mean, it's crazy because Kotaku put out an article saying that Xbox failed at what was most important or whatever the hell, and it's the games. And it's like, it's just so wild to me that people are pretending like the first half of this year hasn't been freaking epic from Xbox. And then we have a back half of the year that on its own is epic for Xbox. Like, so together you have a super epic year. Okay. You got twice the epicness, first half and second half. First time in like Xbox history, I think. I don't I don't remember a time where Xbox had a massive first half and a massive second half, right?
It's
And
you know what? That was their Achilles heel. If you go
it was
back to
always
many of
the
our
end.
conversations, we've
Yep.
always said that they don't know how to ship in the first 6 months. You said it yourself on your own freaking show, C Money.
Yeah, bro. It's the truth. Look at it. Look at what's happening now. But
Yeah.
nobody wants to sit back and be like, wow, look at what Xbox is doing, right? And it's like, honestly, and I know people take it however they want, but like, if like Xbox releasing their games on PlayStation is literally a game changer and something that is helping the industry. Gamers have, I mean, look at the top, the list. They're all Xbox games, bro. What was it? 4 out of top 5,
Yeah.
and then 5 out of top 7. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how Xbox is supplying the best games to the industry.
And some
Right?
of
Not
those
just the
games are
Xbox
old
anymore.
games that were recycled to put on other platforms, and they're selling like gangbusters, dude.
Exactly. It's ridiculous how well they're doing. How well they're doing, man. And look, again, I know people want to have this narrative because they live and die by console sales, right? That's what we know. The arguments are always on
It has been for
the console
years.
sales, the console sales, that's it, right? And then they go and they say, well, Xbox is dead because the box is dead. I think the problem that people don't realize, and this is, again, I talk about all the time, and it exposes the 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 BS, is that we didn't go and say, man, we love Xbox because of the box that they sold. They came out of nowhere. I wasn't paying attention to Microsoft before Xbox came out. They did a dope announcement. They had The Rock. At the time, that Rock was freaking huge. Like, it was an exciting thing, but what made me fall in love with Xbox was Halo, was the game, right? Let me tell you a secret. If it wasn't Xbox who released Halo, and it was in fact, I don't know, Apple or Nintendo or PlayStation, then that's where I would be. Okay? Because it wasn't the box. It's never the box. It's always the games. It's always the games. And the games that Xbox made, or the games that Xbox had on their platform, were something that was life changing for me. Okay. But that's not our world today. Right. And today, the console is nothing but a way for us to play the games. That's all it is. If I can play it on my PC, then I'm playing the game. If I can stream it, then I'm playing the game. It's about playing the games. It's about the games. That's what matters. That's what always has mattered. And the idea that people are still hanging on to this idea of, like, why why are they not worried about how many consoles they're selling, right? It's stupid. It's just this desire to keep arguing and thinking that you're winning. I'm sorry, but you play sales, we play games, right? You sit there and you're looking at sales charts for yourselves. And then when we go, we don't give a shit, right? We go and we play. Now, again, I told you guys before, we're always going to bring it up to mock you because you guys are so caught up in it, right? It means so much to you dudes to hear that your console sold well. And I want it to keep selling because I want to keep seeing that list. You know what I'm saying? I want to keep seeing that list of Xbox being at the top, so I know the return that I'm getting now for my Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
that's
you're
all.
getting an investment return because if games
Exactly.
sell on other consoles that don't have Game Pass, it ultimately erases the fake criticism about Game Pass hurting the industry, right? Like, where is that same energy when 5 out of the top 10 games on PlayStation are Xbox first-party games that are being bought for cash money, right? Not in a service, literally cash money. There is no argument. But you know what? We have a lot of super chats. I want to get to them. Let me get because there's a question in the chat, and it's a legit question. I'm not going to throw the guy under the bus because it is a legit question. So I want to ask that question to the chat, and I want to ask the question to you.
A legit answer.
And actually get the legit answer. But let me just catch up on Super Chat, C Money. Ultron Quake drops the first Super Chat of the day. And of course, Ultron Quake, thank you for the generosity. He drops, ladies and gentlemen, a very generous $5 Super Chat. He says, I beat Doom the Dark Ages last night, 100% every level.
Jesus.
Glad to finally have the time to work on my backlog. Yeah, bro, I got 100% on all of the levels as well. I was like addicted to wanting to do that. The only thing I'm missing, I have 950 out of the 1,000 achievements. The last one that I need is to get the master on every weapon. That's hard as F. I don't have the time. So I think I'm
salute you guys to do that shit, man. Like
I got 950 out of 1,000. I'm very proud of myself. I enjoyed the each level I went through like a lot to get everything. Yeah. Congratulations, Ultron Quake. That's dope.
That's dope. I can't do it. There's very few games.
You know what it is? You and the missus review games, dude. So it's like for me, I stopped taking codes. I get a lot of them. I get a lot of offers. Logistically, folks, I get about 15 to 20 per month, and I just stopped. I don't have the time. I'm only one man. Like Mrs. Boom, she is important part of the show, but she handles all the behind the scenes stuff. I'm obviously the host. I write. I do the thumbnails and everything. I don't have the time to do the reviews. You and the missus do have the time to do the reviews. So when you do those things, even though they're fantastic coverage, that gives you less time to do stuff like that.
Yeah,
right.
We also don't have the time. It's wild, but we just kind of it just
plus
takes
you got
time
the kids,
of other things.
You got all the kids and everything. So you got folks trying to juggle this world of gaming is not as easy as it looks, but we're here for it. Game Shark drops a very generous $2.
Game Shark, twinkle twinkle, baby.
Yeah, he goes on to say the only devs crying are the ones outside of the club. That is a strong point, sir. And I think you might be onto something there. And you know what's interesting? It's funny. You get people that took the bag, didn't cry about getting the money, but took the bag. And then when their game didn't sell on other platforms, somehow Xbox Game Pass bad.
Like,
I get that. I don't get it. But, great point. Hey, Demo Flow Gaming. Salute to you, kind sir. What's going on, brother? Thank you so much for being here.
Demo's going to be in the building tonight instead of tomorrow because it's his mama's birthday tomorrow. So tonight on our show, Demo's going to rock out. So it's going to be a fun show.
Make sure you take care of mama because, sometimes they go the way. And we appreciate the mama while they're there. I'll say that because when they're not, if you didn't, you're gonna feel very sorry. I always had a great relationship with my mom, so even though she's no longer with us, I miss her all the time. But I can say I had a lot of great memories with my mama, especially when we used to celebrate her birthday. So shout out to her. Happy birthday to your mom, DemoFlow. Hopefully you guys have a great time tonight. But he goes on to say, "See Money and Boom, the Weinzen Yandel from the Xbox community. Salute and remember, kids blame Xbox Game Pass when things go south." That's after dropping a very generous $5 super chat. And again, I guess that's the thing, man. What a shame. What a shame that we have to even waste our time.
Game Pass is the new Series S. You know what I'm saying?
It is the new Series S, sir.
There's always something that they need to try to blame. So now, apparently, the Series S is okay. Now there's no more problems with Series S because
that's because the Switch 2 is out. And games are being made for the Switch 2. So then now the lesser powerful box is the Switch 2. And so now the Series S is no longer an issue or holding back the industry. Look at that. I feel like a gift being made where the mask is being ripped off and it's not the Series S that we thought it was. It's the Switch 2, right? Like that. Yep. And so there you go. We have Dan the Man Cunningham. What's going on, brother? Great to see you here.
What's up, man?
Thank you so much, Dan, for the very generous $5 super chat. He goes on to say this. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Christopher Dring is a hack journalist. No credible journalist requires corrections / clarifications in their work. You know what? Again, no one reports the way he reports, and then within 24 hours of said report comes back with an epilogue, retraction, or rebuttal. If you have the information, if you did the work that requires you to write an article and report on that, whatever it is that you're reporting on, you don't have to do a rebuttal because you did the work to get the information. And by doing that, you are doing your due diligence as a so-called journalist to get it right. And that's not what he's about. He's about lighting the fire.
What? They all do the same thing, though. It's all these gaming journalists, right? They're all the same. They put out all this stuff and they just light fires. They're not doing any research. Look, the Romero thing, right? Romero Games going out of business. You know how many of these people, all of them reported that it was done. Okay. Windows Central, all these places, they all did it. They all said it's done. They even added, oh my God, what did they do? They did it before all it would have took was a DM. All you had to do was reach out, send them an email. Hey, is this true? Did you guys go out of business? Because he literally the next day or 2 days later,
he wrote a
thing saying, no, we're not gone. We're still figuring out what we're doing, and we have publishers reaching out. Like, that's the exact opposite of being gone. And it's like, bro, just do some research. Like, for what it's worth, like, what's his name? There's two people I would say that are better at this. So you have Steven Totillo.
Yeah,
right?
Steven's good.
Steven Totillo, he left to do his own thing.
Yep.
And if he says something, not opinion crap, I'm not talking about if he's telling you what he thinks. If he's reporting something, chances are it's legit because he verifies and gets actual sources and does all that stuff, right? And as much as I don't like him, I would say that the next person who's closer to that is going to be Jason Schreier, where he doesn't really just come out stating facts. I don't like his opinions. I don't like his takes on things in any way, shape, or form. But typically, if he's doing a report of some type, it's based on something, right? He doesn't just necessarily talk out of his ass. I gotta take this call real quick.
Yeah, good do you think? So yeah, you know what? Those are great points. Jason Schreier, great reporter, terrible human. And I mean, take that for what it's worth, ladies and gentlemen. But let me continue on the super chats here, and then we're going to get into a question, and it's an honest question. So I want to respond to it with an honest answer. We have Sir Riffs a Lot drops a very generous $2 super chat. I saw this being thrown around. It says Xbox is like Kenny from South Park, and LOL still here. Yeah, I actually saw a couple of people talking about that. Like, I stopped killing Kenny a long time ago. I don't remember who said it, but yeah, it's again now it's to the point of just a running joke, which is the minute I see like anti-Xbox rhetoric. Listen, you know what? Let me hold my thoughts because it is a part of the question that was asked, and I want to answer it honestly. Day Reezy in the chat drops a very generous $2 super chat. He says, even if Xbox is dead, guess what? Mustard isn't.
That's
there you
disgusting.
Go.
That's disgusting.
You know what?
Mustard is the worst.
Regular mustard, I don't mind. I like the honey mustard. Is great.
Honey mustard can be good. This is my problem with anything like that. It's not universally good. And the reason is simple. There's some people who make honey mustard that's more honey than mustard. And then there's other people who make honey mustard that's more mustard than honey. And if it's more honey than mustard, like dramatically more, I can mess with it. But outside of that, I can see by the color. It's like honey mustard and that shit. Mad yellow. No.
Mad yellow. Yes. And you
Get
know
outta here.
yeah. Uh-huh.
That ain't no damn honey mustard. That's some mustard honey.
If
No,
it's
thank
more
you.
of like a hint of brown, then you can say that's a lot of honey in there.
There's
I
a
can see
better
your
chance.
point.
You know what I'm saying? So
the fact that we have that conversation on this show every week,
like
is
every
just
show,
it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I love it.
The worst.
Do you K now the broke boy insider? Dropped a very generous $5 from chat and says, FYI, in January, Nintendo is ending the $100 voucher for 2 games. So if you want Switch 1 games, get it now. Between now and then, that report came out. I'm hoping that, because if you don't know what he's talking about, what Nintendo would do is last year they raised the price of their games to $70. Some of the games were $70. Zelda being one of them. They had this voucher system where you get 2 games for $100, and it'd be any games of your choice. Like you'd buy the $100 voucher, and you would say, okay, I'm going to get the next Mario game, whatever. And for me, what I wound up doing, I think I got Mario Party. Was it 6? I don't remember whatever it was. It might have been Jamboree. I got Mario Party Jamboree, and I think I got the last Zelda that came out. The last Zelda was $70. I paid $50 for it. And that program is going away, unfortunately. What I'm hoping is, with Nintendo's $80 and $70 price point, maybe they revamp it. And rather it be the $100 voucher, maybe it's $120, like $119.99. So that still gets you to pick 2 Switch 2 games that are $70 each, or potentially $70 and $80. And you've only spent $120. And mind you, that's digital only. If you needed that clarification, it's not for the physical ones. But that's what he's talking about. But Will, thank you so much for the generosity, brother. Freddie Fox in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. It says, fellas, don't forget, on top of the 12 games from Xbox, you got 4 former PlayStation exclusives this year. Xbox is winning, and ponies are mad. I love it. Yeah, I mean, Helldivers 2, folks. I had put out the Xbox reinforcements video. It's like a little short that I did. It's 10 seconds. And I built that from scratch. It's actually really cool to look at. I just changed it, folks, because I added an Xbox and a PlayStation flag. It actually looks super cool because the thing is exploding behind them. Go check it out. I had posted it. And a lot of people from PlayStation are excited. Gamers, not trolls, not console warriors, actual gamers who play games are excited that we as Xbox gamers are going to be on the 26th, be able to play. I cannot wait to jump into Helldivers because,
Boom. Last time I was on the show, I told you that I had no real interest in getting it, but I actually bought it.
Oh, so snap! All right, awesome.
So this is the reason, and let me tell you why. I was looking, and obviously at first it's just the ponies, and they're talking all this crazy stuff. But when I was looking through the actual announcement and looking at the replies, and you go everywhere and look at the replies, just like you said, after seeing so many people either on PC or on PlayStation be so pumped, right? They're so excited that Xbox is joining in. It made me want to play it. It made me want to all right, that's dope. Like the community looks dope, right? And it exposes the fact that this whole idea of these people
us
that
versus them
joke about or make fun of because of their takes and their blind Xbox hate, it reminds everybody what we always say is that PlayStation, the number of people who are quote unquote ponies is so small in comparison to just the vast majority of players over there, right? So seeing how open the community was actually made me want to experience it. So I got it on Xbox. I'm ready to go, once it drops. So
nice.
Yeah, it was refreshing to see it. And I tweeted about it too. It was it was dope to see how many people were just like in that mindset. Like, yes, now we have these people ready to go. You got I saw somebody said they were excited for the Spartans to drop. You know what I'm saying? Like they're acknowledging
I'm
that
hoping,
it's like
dude,
Halo
that
people.
they add DLC with the Shock Troopers or the ODST. Dude, they're gonna get my money, bro. Like,
that would be dope.
If any of the developers from Arrowhead are actually listening to the show, and I doubt they are, please, for the love of gaming, have a Spartan or and not even, you know what? I don't want a Master Chief one. I know that sounds crazy. I don't. You know what? I want a ODST skin, because those are the guys that drop in first, right? They drop in first. And they do this. That is what I will gladly throw my money at you for anything Halo related or ODST, skins related. Just make it, and I'm going to buy it. We also have, there's a bit of breaking news. Demoflow Gaming says this after dropping an additional $2 super chat. C Money loves mustard with a passion. Breaking news. Well,
That's
there you
real
go,
wild
brother.
That's some slander. That's some real slander to put out there.
And lastly, Do UK Now, the Broke Boy Insider, drops a generous additional $2 super chat. He says Helldivers 2 is also a fun as a Starship Trooper role play. Yeah, I mean, it's really what it is ultimately, and they did such a great job with it. Like I said, I very much enjoyed it on the PS5. I don't like, as much as I appreciate what some of the things are done with the DualSense, I don't like the sticks. I like the standard offset sticks on the series controllers. I mean, it's the best controller in gaming for sure, but this is the question that I want to just take before we get on out of here. Oh man, I hope I didn't lose it. Hold on just a second. And
by the way, just another thing about
I have it.
Helldivers 2 was it was just funny watching, because like my kids and stuff, they'd be on the TikTok and they show me before, not so much. PlayStation kind of killed it when they did that thing online and made them have to have a PlayStation Network.
Yeah.
But like there were like the wives of Helldivers, and like wives would go out and like they would write or have these videos talk about how they support their, like how to support your husband going to war as a Helldiver and all this other shit.
Is hilarious.
It was a pretty cool little marketing, like a natural marketing for the game that kind of just arose from it, from the PC players. So that was pretty dope. So go ahead. What was your question?
All right. Well, here's the question, chat. And again, no names, because we don't want to embarrass anybody. Everybody that's here in the chat, we want you to come back for the show for tomorrow morning and then follow suit. This is the question that was asked. And it's an honest question, so I want to answer it honestly. Why can't people be critical of Xbox since you guys are critical about PlayStation? That's a double standard, is what they're saying. Now, hold on just a second. I want to answer that question with a very simplistic response. We here on this channel, on this specific show, have given smoke to Xbox when it's necessary. So if that's the critical thinking and conversation that you're wondering, we have done that. Now, if that question is honest and you're asking, well, why can't people be critical of Xbox like right now? What would be the critical thinking of Xbox? Now, if it's regarding the layoffs, you should give them smoke. They are a $3.7 trillion company, and they laid off 9,100 human beings. And that is shitty, no matter how you try to slice it. They closed down 3 games, right? 2 that were announced, 1 that was in the background that we've only heard rumors of. They shuttered a studio. They obviously did some big cuts to Turn 10. Turn 10 is going to be a support studio. The studio still exists, but the next game is probably going to be released from Playground Games with assistance from Turn 10 rather than Turn 10 taking the lead. If that's what you want to be critical about, that is a legitimate take, and we've already covered that. Now, if it's just being critical because people are being critical on Sony, That's not the right thinking, right? We're critical on Sony because Sony has not delivered. If you want to strictly just base your opinion on consoles sold and shipped, they are the winner. They have shipped 77 million consoles. That is a lot of consoles for this generation. But if you want to talk about first-party game releases, well, they've been super light the last couple of years, and that continues this year. Ghost of Yotai is going to be a great game. You're going to get you're going to get
fingers crossed. We don't know. We're hoping.
Again, I'm going based on just my opinion of Ghost of Tsushima. I would imagine that Ghost of Yotai is going to be just the same, and I love that game.
It should be.
Right? If they don't do anything to it that ruins it, it's going to be just as good. But
they already dropped the character, but
yeah,
she could be a bad character. We don't know.
I mean, we will certainly see. But again, it depends on the critical thinking point of view. If it's for what happened last week, I think we've all said our piece on it. We've all took our, we stuck our flag into the sand and said, yeah, this wasn't right. Even though, and again, from a business point of view, which I don't care because I'm not a businessman and I have stock. It's hanging on my wall right here, but I still don't like the idea that people lost their jobs. I understand why certain games were canceled because they didn't deliver. We discussed that to open up the show, but there's a difference in being critical on PlayStation versus being critical and again, being critical for PlayStation not putting out because again, the same logic could be used. They've closed studios, they've laid off of a ton of people, they've shut down games. As a matter of fact, they've canceled 10 of the 12 the service games. And why isn't that a running narrative? It's not, because it's Sony. Sony's allowed to get away with these things. Xbox is over critical thinking. How do you want to respond to that, C Money?
All right. So I think it's for me, it's pretty simple. Number one, just understand if you don't know me or my channel, or like me and my wife and what we do, I own everything. I almost certainly guarantee that I own more PlayStation 5s than the vast majority of ponies that exist. Okay. We have 6 kids. Before the generation started, I always get every console. I don't care, because PlayStation, regardless of how many games I like or don't like, I'm a Naughty Dog fan. So I always had to have a PlayStation. Okay. It's just what it is since PlayStation 4, right? They made me a fan. That's just what it is. So I own everything. Okay. So there's a difference between someone who talks about something that they have no investment in, and then there's somebody else who has an investment. Okay. So when I sit here and I look at that PlayStation that's sitting right there, okay, and I realize that I haven't turned it on in God knows how long, since what was the last big game they released? Spider-Man? Was it Spider-Man 2?
Spider-Man 2. That was the last one.
Spider-Man 2 was the last first party game, right? That mattered. When I look at that and I see that I turned it on for Spider-Man 2 and then turned it off because the game wasn't better than the first one. It didn't excite me. It didn't look better. It felt like I was playing the same shit. They did the same thing with God of War Ragnarok. If you go to our channel, well, actually, I don't think you can just see it there. Well, members of our channel will know that we have, I mean, if you've seen this for a long time ago, you would know, but members of our channel can go see our old videos we used to do. We have gameplay from God of War Ragnarok, and you can hear our exact reaction when we first turned it on and played it to where we are, to like where we ended up with it. It's just people who are gonna slobber it are gonna say that it's this amazing thing and blah blah blah. Great, sure, no problem, but it wasn't for us, and I spent my money and I'm annoyed, right? So if they can't go ahead and do the promise that sold us on saying, okay, my mind was, yo, Naughty Dog, look at what they did on the PlayStation 4. I could only imagine what they're going to do with a system that's 8 times more powerful. Oh my God, it's going to blow my mind. I have to have this just for whenever they drop whatever they're going to drop. And then to see them show how broke they are because they can't invest in going and making things better. That's why God of War Ragnarok is trash to me, not because it's a bad game, but because I'm so annoyed that it's just more of the same shit. That's not what I signed up for. It's not what I signed up for. Spider-Man 2, more of the same shit. That's not what I signed up for. Ghost of Yote, from what I've seen so far, the reason why I'm not amped, even though I did like Ghost of Tsushima, not like Boom liked it, but I still liked it enough. And it does not look like a next gen PlayStation 5 versus PlayStation 4 game. That's what I signed up for, and they didn't deliver shit for me. So yes, I can't stand that I wasted this money on these systems because of this fake ass promise that they gave that wasted everybody's money. Okay. That annoys the hell out of me. So yes, I'm going to be hypercritical of the shit that they do because it's nonstop disappointment from that camp. When I say there's one game that's coming out a year and that's not enough, I'm saying that because I have a PlayStation and would like a fucking reason to say, okay, look at this dope ass undeniable fire game. Death Stranding 2 is not that. I don't care what people say. I watch the videos. It's the same shit. I'm not looking to go deliver packages. Okay. That's not my goal in life. I'm sorry. So that means nothing to me. So they haven't delivered shit for me. So guess what? Because it's my voice and it's my thoughts and it's my channel when I'm on it or my turn to talk when I'm on it, I'm going to talk about my feeling towards it. And that's why they're going to get the smoke because they have let me down. I don't give a shit about everybody else who owns a PlayStation. I mean, they mean nothing to me. Just like when I talk about layoffs.
It's a fair take, man. Fair
this
take.
is all about what I invested in.
So you're basically coming at it from a consumer point of view who's disappointed
they let
with
me
the
down
company.
nonstop. Yeah. Nonstop. You think I feel good about owning all these PlayStations? And again, I promise you, I could literally almost guarantee that I probably have more PlayStations than everybody in this chat. To hear them sit down on the couch and tell me, one game a year, that's pretty good. When I'm sitting with my Xbox on the other side, getting 12 first-party games in a year. I'm sorry. No, that's not enough. And you know what? If we were talking 5 years, I'm sorry, maybe like 5 yeast ago, 6 years ago, before they bought all these studios, maybe that would have been more acceptable because you're only getting, 2 or 3 first party games in a year. So if you're focusing on one, that's different. But in a world where Xbox has now changed the game and these ponies don't want to accept it, right? Xbox has changed the game for game players. They get more games than they've ever gotten in the history of gaming from a first party. Never happened before in any given year. Xbox is doing something crazy. And I'm not talking about here, just ship a game to ship a game. These are all high quality bangers. We are not the same. We're not talking about the same thing, bro. I am not excited when I hear these people come out here say one game a year. And then what's the game a year? Ghost of Yote? Listen, again, I know the excitement that there is for it from the people who like it. Again, I was okay with Ghost of Tsushima. I thought it was a good game. I'm not excited. Why? Because nothing they showed blew my mind. I'm sorry. That's not what I'm in this shit for. There's too many games. There's too many games. It has to be amazing. Now they're going to do this show tonight. Maybe they're going to unveil how amazingly beautiful it is. Maybe since they got the criticism from Digital Foundry when their first trailer dropped and they basically mocked it for just being an extension of the first game on PlayStation 4, maybe they took all this time and they greatly improved it. I would love to see it. I would love to look at the show tonight and be like, yo, that looks amazing. Okay, maybe I'll buy it. Or maybe I'll wait for a little while and scoop it up. It depends on what they show me, right? But the chances are, from what we've seen so far, because they just showed a little sneak peek or whatever it is when they did the announcement of the show, of the state of play, like it still looks the same to me. So we're gonna see. Like they think they're cooking, like they're doing close-ups on a wolf's teeth, and I'm like, bro, that shit don't even look good. Like, what are you talking about? Get this shit off my screen, right? Like, this is where we are. Okay, this is where we are. I'm not satisfied, so I'm going to be annoyed. Guess what? On Xbox, I'm more than satisfied. I'm more than satisfied. They're not even the same conversation. What Xbox has been delivering and what the promise of what they deliver. And yes, I am a businessman. So at the end of the day, layoffs don't mean shit to me. They don't. They don't. If they would have closed Halo Studios, holy shit, what's going to happen to Halo? That would be some crazy shit for me. Okay. If you're telling me that they shut down a studio that never shipped a game, I have no care about that studio. They don't own that IP. They didn't create Perfect Dark. Anybody else could do that later on if they feel like they have a team that's suitable of doing it, that's going to bring something to the table that's worthwhile. I'm sorry, it's just not the case. And to be clear, Rare, sure, they've been around forever. I loved Rare when they brought me Perfect Dark, when they made 007 GoldenEye, right? When they made GoldenEye, those were my childhood. I love those games. But Sea of Thieves, as popular as it is, right? It looks cool, and I did jump in about the Disney stuff, right? When they did Pirates of the Caribbean, I was like, "Oh, that's sick." All right, let me go back and jump in. But I'm not a pirate lover, right? The closest I got was Assassin's Creed Black Flag, right? I'm not dressing up in it's not happening. That's not me. So as cool as Sea of Thieves is, that exists and it's crushing it and it's making good money. The only thing I care is that it's making money, and that's going to funnel back into more games and Game Pass and all that other stuff. But like, that's it. Rare hasn't done anything for me since I don't even know when, bro. I don't even know.
64. I mean, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, no. I mean, 60. I mean, obviously, GoldenEye was huge.
GoldenEye was great. The last game that I was infatuated with by Rare was, and this is going back, folks, Cameo.
Cameo was pretty good.
Freaking amazing. Now, Sea of Thieves, I know it has millions of players.
Like,
and a lot of people love it. And they're actually doing something new with the community. I don't know whether you saw it or not. There was a post where they're going to be updating the servers, and they're going to be allowing people to make content. I think that I just took a quick look at it. That's awesome. If you're a Sea of Thieves guy or gal, awesome. That game has just never been for me. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, again, at the end of the day, like, it has to matter to me. I'm not doing a performance for people. You know what I'm here? I'm not up on stage shaking my ass for dollars. You know what I'm saying? I have this channel,
but you're shaking it for mustard though, and olives.
Yeah, for mustard always. I'll take mustard. No, fuck the people who watch our channel, okay, are people who understand that Doodle and I don't mince words. Doodle and I are not people pleasers. We're not here to make sure that every YouTuber on YouTube likes us. I frankly don't give a shit. I didn't know these people to begin with, and I won't know them after. It doesn't matter to me. And I'm not here to talk shit about people. What I'm saying is that I'm not here to fall in line with what everybody is saying. I don't care. I only care about what I think. Doodle only cares about what she thinks. And it just so happens that, I don't know, we've been married for 20 years. What we think tends to align. Okay. So we're very similar. So yes, we go out there and we give the smoke where it needs to be directed. I don't care about a lot of this stuff that people want to go out there and give the smoke for. It means nothing to me. You're never going to hear me come out and be like, I'm going to give them the smoke because they did something that's good for their business. Now, the only time I'm going to do that is if it affects me. Because that's my channel. That's the only reason. If you come to my channel to hear what other people think, you're fucking crazy. You come to my channel to see what I think, to see what Doodle thinks. That's the only reason. So I don't care about stuff. I'm not going to go ahead and give anybody the smoke that I don't need to give the smoke. Let them tell me that Halo's dead. We will have a discussion.
Then we have a problem.
There will be fun. Yeah. Then we're going to have smoke. That means something to me. Other stuff like this, come on, man. No, you got to remember, people have their own opinions. I don't care what everybody else is saying. You have to be true to yourself. Okay. If you're BSing shit and doing it for other people, like, it's not gonna work. Right. Boom does what he feels. Boom's not fake. Boom's not putting on a show in the opinion, world. He just feels what he feels. Right. Whether you agree or don't agree, right? That's the point. He feels what he feels. I feel what I feel. And that's the way YouTube works.
Yeah.
There's different channels, different people. If you don't feel that way, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? No, it's fine, right? Like, this is just what it is. So I will always get smoke to wherever it deserves, but I'm not gonna follow where the smoke from other people lead. That's not. It has to make sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to me, it doesn't. You have never seen me on this show say one thing and then go back to my show and say another
else.
thing.
No, you keep it real. You keep it a buck.
That's just the reality of what it is.
As it should be. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. Again, this is one of those shows that were a little bit all over the place. I'm trying in my mind to figure out how I'm gonna, dice it down. I still got to cut down last night's show because last night we had a great conversation to open up about what happened. Kay Asante, myself, and Hargeet Chani. That one is going to be a little bit of a longer video, probably around 40-something minutes. I'll be doing that after this show. And I do have some of the stuff on Monday that I haven't had a chance to cut down. So by the weekend, I'm going to add probably, not counting Breakfast at Boom, probably 3 or 4 videos of some of the conversation, especially the one with myself and Fuzzy Belvedere talking about Turn 10 Studios and my thoughts on how I believe Playground Games is going to take over the lead. But see, Money, let's have the brand, brother, of On Point for Gamers. Where can people subscribe and, more importantly, follow you guys on social media?
Yes, well, of course, Boom. Again, my brother, another week, another great show, man. Thank you for having me. I love being on the show, man. So appreciate you, my brother. Let me get this over here so I can grab it. I don't know where it went. All right, here we go. Sorry. Right? It's happening? No? Okay. It's taking a long time for no reason. All right, here we go. Yeah, I'm just trying to grab the link. I don't know why it wasn't popped up. All right, right there. Share. Copy. We're good. Okay. So I'm putting the link in the chat for our channel. Obviously, you can follow me at C Money Forever on Twitter. My wife is Doodle to be free. And we have a channel called On Point for Gamers. Obviously, I think you can tell it's an Xbox focused channel, but we talk about everything that's happening in the industry from any console, because we follow everything, right? So we're going to talk about it, and it's always from the perspective of an Xbox fan, man. If you hate Xbox, it's probably not the place for you. And that's just what it is. We do a few shows a week. We do previews, we do reviews. We're working on a pretty big game right now that we're very excited for review. So that'll be out a little later. And what's today? Today's Thursday. So every time you see us here on Thursday at 12, we'll be live Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time with the On Point Gaming Podcast. It's going to be myself and Doodle. Normally it's just us two on Thursdays, but my boy Demo, who you saw with the super chat earlier, he is normally on our Friday night show with Hargeet, but he is not available. So he is going to be on the show tonight. So it'll be myself, Doodle, Demo. We're going to have a really fun show talking about a lot of stuff. So it's going to be a good time. We also have Friday night shows, 8 p.m. Eastern, the night shift with myself, Doodle, Hargeet, and Demo typically. And then we have a Tuesday night show, Night Quest. We used to do a lot more shows, but we kind of condensed it because we have a very busy life. We have 6 kids, so it's not
man.
We got to make it work in the ways we can. So it's definitely a good time. We go, we have fun, we laugh it up. A lot of our homies are here in the chat right now. So it's going to be a great show. And again, I would say at the end of the day, I know that people are going to keep saying whatever they say and whatever they think or feel. And, we're always going to make fun of ponies. right? So those are the bad eggs, right? We don't make fun of PlayStation players, right? Just the PlayStation gamers. That's okay. If you like PlayStation, that's fine for
Yeah,
you.
there's
You
nothing
know,
wrong with being a
you know,
PlayStation gamer. There is
shit.
something
We
wrong
we
with
are
being a
PlayStation player.
pro who goes out of their way to, be disingenuous with their takes and their opinions because they're trying to defend the honor of PlayStation. It's just ridiculous.
Exactly, which is wild. So, like, we're always gonna make fun of them, but at the end of the day, times have changed. Things are different now as far as what's happening in gaming. And at the end of the day, like we just love playing games, having fun,
Yep.
making fun of the people who are embarrassing themselves out in these streets. But outside of that, man, it's just all about enjoying gaming, however you do, right? You enjoy gaming. I don't care how you enjoy it. If PlayStation's your thing, do it. If Nintendo's your thing, do it. You just don't have to disrespect another console. If you do that, then you have got a little bit of an
No,
issue.
it's true. It's
Uh,
true.
but
There's no
apart
reason
from
to
that,
take
man,
it to that level. It's just games, folks, at the end of the day.
exactly.
But a big thank you to all the super chats and channel member chats and gifted subs that the channel continues to get. Mrs. Boom and I are greatly appreciative of it. Of course, again, next week we'll have more details into the Christmas in July giveaway that Mrs. Boom and I do annually. It is going to be 10 physical prizes, two which of the 10 are going to be grand prizes. Again, Mrs. Boom and I are trying to work out the deets on exactly what's going to make these things grand prize packages. If you do win one and you are outside of the Americas, we will definitely try to get that winnings to you. It depends on how much the shipping is, and things are very expensive right now. So of course, we don't want to say that it's US only because we do want to support our friends outside of the country. Again, we just have to see how much. And it's not. We're not sending you a 30-pound statue. We don't have that kind of money, but we are going to send a physical prize, and it being physical has to be shipped. So we will, we'll check in, see what the shipping rates are going to be. If it's reasonable, we'll send it. And, we'll just, whatever the cost is, we'll just eat the cost. But we'll have more information of that next week. Of course, tomorrow morning is Breakfast at Boom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know James in the chat had asked whether or not I'm doing coverage for the Ghost of Yotai. No, we're actually not going to do that today, but we will be discussing it tomorrow on Breakfast at Boom. It's definitely going to be one of the topics on what they showed. Supposedly it's going to be 20 minutes of new gameplay. So we, of course, will discuss whether or not we're excited for it. For some people, what it do for you as a gamer. Like I said, for me, I'm very excited because I love Ghost of Tsushima. I platinum that game. I don't have a lot of platinums. That's how much I loved it. And I'm looking forward to this as well. We'll see. Hopefully they don't change too much where they go ahead and ruin the game. I don't think they're going to. I really think this game is going to be a solid release this year. I'm going to buy day one. There's no question there. But, of course, I'm going to close out today's show with a big, first of all, a big thank you to everyone that tuned in today, because obviously we had well over 500 people on a Thursday. And again, the show is growing. It's growing slow, but we're happy to have all new subscribers, as well as, before you get on out of here, hit the like button. But before we do that, I want to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully one day will be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And it would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.